It's right there. I don't have my glasses on. Look at that.
Close encounters with Bigfoot are rare, but those who claim to have experienced them describe moments of sheer terror, overwhelming awe, and even bizarre, unexplained phenomena. From spine-chilling growls to intelligent, almost human-like interactions, these encounters leave people questioning everything they thought they knew. But what really happens when you're in Bigfoot's presence? Let's break it down. Peter Kane Dog Training has been known for sharing unusual and sometimes controversial content, but this time he presents something truly astonishing: a juvenile Sasquatch frozen since 1953. He claims that this creature has been preserved using dry ice, with slabs underneath and granular dry ice on top. For those unfamiliar with dry ice, he advises looking it up.
Sort of looks like a Christ figure laying there.
When my father shot the Bigfoot, September 23rd, 1953, he shot more than one.
According to Peter, his father shot the Bigfoot on September 23, 1953 D. However, this wasn't the only one. Multiple Sasquatch were involved in the encounter. When they began cutting up the larger ones, a juvenile suddenly appeared. It reacted in distress upon seeing its deceased parents and attempted to escape, but was shot in the back.
And when they were they started cutting the big ones up, this small one, this juvenile, appeared.
The male and female Bigfoot were simply too large to transport out of the swamp, so they were cut up for easier handling. However, the juvenile was different. It was smaller, yet still a massive creature, estimated at over 300 pounds. Initially, they planned to transport it whole, but when they went to retrieve the body, they discovered it was still alive. At that moment, they debated whether to keep it alive.
And when the juvenile saw that the mother and father were dead, the juvenile took off and they shot this one in the back.
Peter recounts that his father and his group even considered selling the creature to the St. Louis Zoo. However, the Sasquatch was not as lifeless as they believed. It had merely been stunned and later regained consciousness. The sheer size of the creature was intimidating, as it took 4 people just to move it. Its feet were distinct, with separated toes, and it had enormous hands. Peter describes how his father witnessed it behaving erratically before they ultimately euthanized it.
Now they continued cutting up the male and female Bigfoot because they couldn't get them out of the swamp. They were too big. This is a juvenile. It's like this would be a very large human.
Despite its injuries, the Sasquatch displayed remarkable resilience. Peter highlights its physical features, its hands, eyes, and other anatomical details that distinguish it from any known animal. He points out the creature's large testicles, reinforcing his belief that this was an entirely different species, far removed from any human or primate we currently recognize.
The girth on this animal, it's gigantic. It's over 300 pounds. It's a big animal. So they were cutting up the adults.
Peter recalls his father's concerns that the creature could come back to life. During the process of cutting up the larger Bigfoot, he noticed that their muscles twitched and their eyes occasionally opened. This led him to believe that the Sasquatch might have some kind of hibernation ability, making him anxious that the juvenile might not be fully dead.
And they were gonna transport this one whole. And when they went to go get it to put it in the boat, they noticed that it was still alive. So they were thinking, well, we'll try and keep it alive.
His father was not only worried about the Sasquatch reviving, but also about the possibility of someone discovering the juvenile's location. He feared that either the government or extraterrestrial beings would intervene and take the body away. Peter suggests that Bigfoot might not be of earthly origin, but rather an extraterrestrial species.
I know that my dad said that they had plans initially to talk to the St. Louis Zoo and sell it to the St. Louis Zoo.
To support his claims, Peter provides a close-up of the Sasquatch's eye and even showcases one of the guns used in the encounter. Though he isn't sure if this particular weapon was responsible for taking down the juvenile, He confirms that it was used to shoot at least one or two of the creatures.
But the beast that they thought was dead was just stunned, and it came back alive. You can't make judgments about my dad.
Peter then shifts to revealing more about the storage of the Sasquatch. He explains that it is kept in an underground bunker, one of many built by his father, who was a survivalist. The bunker is located somewhere in New York, though Peter refuses to disclose the exact location. He warns that no one will ever find it.
Look at that. If that creature was coming at you, you would do the same thing. That is a very large animal. You know, like I said, it's way over 300 pounds. It's probably over 350 pounds.
He also mentions that an infant Sasquatch was involved in the event. According to his father, the mother Sasquatch had killed the infant, although the reason remains unclear. This revelation adds yet another layer of mystery to the entire story.
Yes, and the toes are separated. And my dad said the thing went apeshit and started, trying to hit everybody, grabbing stuff, and they couldn't control it, so they had no other option.
The Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization has documented a chilling encounter involving a group of bow hunters deep in the wilderness of the Bloody Bucket region. According to the eyewitness, he was hunting when he spotted several large, upright figures moving along the edge of a beaver pond. The hunter estimated he was about 75 to 100 yards away when he noticed the figures walking through scrub aspen before disappearing into a north-facing timbered slope. At first, he struggled to comprehend what he was seeing, but as they moved, their sheer size became evident. The tallest Bigfoot, barely obscured by the scrub aspen, was enormous, standing well above the hunter's 6-foot frame. A sense of unease crept in. Realizing the magnitude of what he had just witnessed, he considered checking for tracks in the mud near the pond. However, the more he thought about how tall and massive these creatures were, the more his instincts urged him to retreat. Overwhelmed with a feeling of vulnerability, he ultimately chose to move in the opposite direction and leave the area.
Welcome to the Bloody Bucket. We're going to walk around the Bloody Bucket and take a look for any signs of Bigfoot or Bigfoot evidence.
Investigators later interviewed the hunter and found him to be a credible witness, a seasoned outdoorsman who was deeply familiar with the region. He had hunted in the Bloody Bucket area for years and had continued to do so even after the sighting. However, despite returning to locations near the beaver pond, he never felt comfortable stepping back into the exact spot where he had seen the figures. Eventually, he moved to another state and never returned to the area.
I was about 75 to 100 yards away from them. They walked around the edge of the beaver pond, through some scrub, aspen, and into the timber on the north-facing slope.
One of the most perplexing details of his account is that he never saw the creature's facial features. They appeared hairless, yet they never turned to acknowledge his presence. It was as if they didn't see him at all. They were already moving away when he spotted them, vanishing into the dense cover beyond the pond. Another intriguing detail was the sound of their movement. Despite their massive size, the Bigfoots were making more noise walking than he was. The largest of the group took the lead, moving through the forest with deliberate but heavy steps.
I have interviewed the witness and found him to be believable, an experienced outdoorsman and hunter and familiar with the area. He had been hunting there many times before and many times after.
The Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization has spent considerable time exploring this mysterious region, hoping to uncover more evidence of Sasquatch activity. While camping in the Whiskey Flat area, researchers reported an unusual and unexplained phenomenon.
Although he found himself hunting within several hundred yards of a beaver pond on different occasions after the sighting, he never felt comfortable returning to the exact location.
Early one morning, just as the sun was rising, they were startled by a series of loud rock clacks, a possible form of Sasquatch communication. What made this even more eerie was that the clacking seemed to be a response to a distant coyote howl. The sound continued for a full 30 minutes, echoing through the valley.
He now lives in a different state. The witness never got a good description of their faces, other than they were hairless, and he felt like the group didn't see him.
Curious to investigate, one of the researchers unzipped the tent, but the moment the zipper sound broke the silence, The rock clacking stopped abruptly. Sensing something unusual, he climbed a small hill behind their camp to get a better view, but whatever was responsible for the clacking had vanished.
Because of the long history of Bigfoot sighting reports coming out of the Bloody Bucket area, and with witnesses seeing what appears to be.
Later that night, the team found themselves alone in the Bloody Bucket wilderness. With no other campers or hunters in sight, an eerie realization set in. They may have just heard Bigfoot vocalizations. The thought of an active Sasquatch presence had them prepared for an eventful night, but strangely, the rest of the night remained silent.
Family unit, we at RMSO spend a lot of time in the area hiking and camping. One time, camping back on Whiskey Flat,
the vocalizations never returned, leaving them with only speculation and unanswered questions. The Bloody Bucket region continues to be a hotspot for Bigfoot activity, with hunters, hikers, and researchers reporting similar encounters over the years. Could this area be home to an undiscovered population of Sasquatch, or is there another explanation? What do you think? Did these bow hunters stumble upon a family of Bigfoots, or is there a more logical explanation? Let us know in the comments.
All the way up past the Bloody Bucket and not finding another soul, it started to sink in that we may have heard some Bigfoot vocalizations.
Welcome to BuzzFeed Unsolved Network. This is your one-stop destination for all things mystery, true crime, conspiracy, supernatural, and everything in between, including the hit series BuzzFeed Unsolved, Supernatural, BuzzFeed Unsolved, True Crime, and much more.
We are hunting Bigfoot. Oh my gosh.
That attracts predators right there and has called in for us Bigfoot.
We are hunting Bigfoot. Oh my gosh, the eerie call echoes through the forest, a squawking sound meant to attract predators, and maybe even something more. The team is deep in the woods, surrounded by darkness, with only their equipment and instincts to rely on.
You guys see that, right?
Whoa.
That's Bigfoot.
You guys see that, right? Aria whispers, eyes wide with a mix of fear and excitement. A shadow moves in the distance. Matt, ever the skeptic yet eager for adventure, takes a deep breath and pushes forward.
When did the kind of Bigfoot connection happen?
We were on a motorcycle trip and we were in the woods and talking about Bigfoot to each other.
The journey began with a simple conversation. When did the Bigfoot connection happen? Someone asks.
And we stopped and suddenly have a revelation because he knew about my Bigfoot experiences and he's had Bigfoot experiences.
Joey and his friend recount their experiences, moments that sent shivers down their spines. We were on a motorcycle trip deep in the woods talking about Bigfoot, he explains. Then suddenly, everything changed. The tales continue, one more chilling than the next, revealing first-hand encounters with something unknown.
I was lucky enough to call one in with a predator call when I was 18 years old, and he was from me to you. Just then, he was holding brush apart with his arms, just looking right through.
I was lucky enough to call one with a predator call when I was 18, Joey admits. He was right there, just a few feet away.
We're gonna pour the plaster of Paris and it'll harden.
And then when you pour it, don't pour it directly on the print. Pour it a little to the side so it rolls in. That way it won't disrupt.
We're gonna pour the plaster of Paris and it'll harden, Matt says as he prepares a cast. When you pour it, don't pour it directly on the print, Joey advises. Pour it a little to the side so it rolls in. That way it won't disrupt the shape. Matt chuckles. Good thing you said that. I was about to go right in like a swimming pool.
There's a story about one guy said that his friend shot at a Bigfoot as the Bigfoot was walking away.
The atmosphere shifts as Joey recalls a chilling story. There's this story about a guy who said his friend shot at a Bigfoot as it was walking away.
Turned around and looked at him, and he didn't know if he hit it or not. He thought he did, and then he kept walking, just didn't hurry his pace.
He was disappointed.
It turned around and looked at him. He didn't know if he hit it or not. He thought he did, but it just kept walking. Didn't even hurry. The weight of the story lingers in the air, adding to the growing unease.
Before nightfall, Ray and Joey were nice enough to share with us some warm food and coffee. We then prepared for our final test of the night, calling a Bigfoot.
As the night grows colder, Ray and Joey offer some warmth in the form of food and coffee, but the real test is yet to come. The team prepares to make a call, an attempt to summon the legendary creature.
We are going to pick up the casts we made earlier of the coyote paw and the elk track. And now, when do I get to eat it? Whoa. That's Bigfoot.
They retrieve their plaster casts from earlier, examining the eerie prints of coyotes and elk. Now, when do I get to eat it? Matt jokes, but his humor is interrupted by a realization. Whoa, that's Bigfoot. The cast in his hands is technically a large foot, but is it proof of something more? The excitement is palpable as they move into the night. With thermal imaging cameras in hand, the group navigates the darkness.
We've had most of our experiences, Joey and I, and separately, most of our encounters have been after dark.
Joey and his team, seasoned veterans of night encounters, guide the way. We've had most of our experiences after dark, Joey explains.
So what we like to do is we set our clients up with, we have a couple pieces of night vision that we're going to use tonight.
So we set up with night vision.
We have one that works off of ambient light. Do it like this and you can see things walking up on you if you want to, right? Also, Matt downloaded an app for a thermal.
It works off ambient light. If something's out there, we'll see it. The tension rises as the forest comes alive with mysterious sounds. Then a sudden noise. A powerful, bone-chilling screech. Did you hear that? Someone whispers. The flashlight beams cut through the trees, reflecting off something in the distance.
It was like eye shine for a second.
Yeah. Look, it's glinting again. What is that?
It was like eye shine for a second, Matt says, voice unsteady. Yeah, see, Arya exclaims. It's glinting again. The eerie lights flicker in the darkness. What is that? The question hangs in the air, unanswered.
Look, there's 3 sets of eyes.
I see 2 sets.
Oh, they're all excited now. They're all coming. One at a time, please.
They're all calling the cops.
More eyes appear. Look, there's 3 sets of eyes, Matt points out. I see 2 sets, Ray corrects him, tension thick in the air.
Oh, me. Jesus Christ.
Then, a series of sounds, game call squawking, distant movement, and a sudden, unmistakable noise. Oh, me, Arya gasps. Jesus Christ, the moment is electric. Look, they cry out, but the figure is gone, just like that.
Thanks so much for joining me on this.
It was my pleasure, minus the maggots. Only sad thing is that you didn't get to deliver on the promo you cut against Bigfoot.
The night draws to an end, but the adventure isn't over. Thanks so much for joining me on this, Matt says. Oh, it was my pleasure, minus the maggots, comes the response. The only sad thing is, you didn't get to deliver on the promo you cut against Bigfoot.
That's true, I didn't put his ass in a bag. Like I said I would.
Plenty of days ahead, though.
Matt smirks. That's true, I didn't put his ass in a bag like I said I would. His laughter is met with knowing glances. Plenty of days ahead, though. The chase isn't over, not yet. Bye, we're gonna go kill Arya. Laughter fills the air, but the mystery lingers. Somewhere in the shadows, something watches.
Bigfoot of the Rockies Outdoor Adventures is a YouTube channel dedicated to the great outdoors, blending content about fishing, hunting, hiking, and ATV riding with thrilling investigations into the supernatural. From Bigfoot encounters to UFO sightings, this channel takes viewers deep into the heart of the Colorado Rockies, where mysterious creatures are said to roam. One of the most compelling investigations came during Bigfoot Adventure Weekend, BAW 2022 in Bailey, Colorado. The event was filled with laughter, camaraderie, and high mountain adventures, but what made it unforgettable was a 3-hour-long encounter with what could only be described as Bigfoot.
I was trying to film you guys backwards and hit a stump. My camera's on my chest. Almost took a digger.
As night fell, the team retired to their tents after a long day of exploring. Around midnight, one of the team members had a recorder running, capturing sounds of the forest as the group settled in. An hour to an hour and a half later, something violent happened. A sudden, forceful shake rattled the tent. It wasn't just a small disturbance, it was as if something deliberately grabbed hold and shook it with intention. Initially, the team member dismissed it as an animal, perhaps a deer that had accidentally tripped on one of the guy wires securing the rainfly. The wire, however, was tied to a tree 14 inches off the ground, making it unlikely that a passing animal had merely brushed against it. Was it a Bigfoot? If so, what had caused the tent shake? Had they just experienced direct interaction with one of the elusive creatures?
Nice. Just figured give you guys a little bit of breather here, and then we'll keep going on. We'll kind of get over there where the canyon narrows a little bit.
Instead of attempting to sneak up on the creatures, the lead investigator instructed the team to laugh and speak loudly, a technique based on years of experience. Whispering and trying to deceive Bigfoot, he found, was often counterproductive. These creatures were intelligent and cautious, and any attempt to be stealthy could be perceived as threatening. By acting naturally and keeping their presence obvious, the team aimed to encourage curiosity rather than fear, hoping that Bigfoot might approach them on its own terms.
Yeah, we got to get closer to where that water we can.
She
can hear it flow.
There you go.
Oh my God. Me up. Oh, James.
It's just like you left your faucet on.
As the team continued their search, they came across a mysterious presence in the woods. The moment was intense. Was it a Bigfoot or just an illusion created by the dense forest? One team member attempted to adjust the camera's settings, struggling with the autofocus and zoom functions in the darkness. The infrared IR settings on the device fluctuated, distorting the image and adding an eerie glow to the screen. The tension grew as the team tried to capture clear footage of whatever was lurking beyond the trees. With cameras rolling, the team directed their attention toward the mysterious figure they had detected. It was barely visible, blending seamlessly into the landscape. Holding up the camera, one investigator tried to stabilize the view, while another attempted communication.
There's a couple flashes.
There we go. There we go.
They like
I'm seeing this is I don't think it's moved.
How big were they or what?
"Can you hear us?" one of them asked, holding the camera steady. As they focused their attention on the dark figure, they made a bold request. "If you can understand us, raise your left hand." The atmosphere grew tense. The anticipation was palpable. Would the entity respond? But instead of an answer, the silence deepened. Whatever they were watching, it was watching them too.
Gonna do another female whoop in 5, 4,
5, Roger.
3, 2, 1, go.
Well done. Was the tent shake a warning or a test of curiosity? Did Art truly see a Bigfoot standing near his tent? What was caught on camera that night? An animal, a shadow, or something more? For those intrigued by the mysteries of Bigfoot, the Bigfoot of the Rockies Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel continues to document their search for the truth. What do you think? Was this an encounter with Bigfoot, or is there another explanation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.
Hellbent Holler is a tech-driven, boots-on-the-ground investigation team focused on Sasquatch, Dogman, and the paranormal. Hailing from the Carolinas, Hellbent Holler is a two-person research team that investigates all manners of high strangeness in the southern Appalachians.
18 hours ago, we get this report that two guys were traveling down an old Forest Service road.
From the forests of the land between the lakes to the mountains of North Georgia, Hellbent Holler takes a tech-driven yet unconventional approach to exploring mysterious phenomena. The duo has researched Sasquatch, Dogman, anomalous lights, and wilderness paranormal activity. Hellbent Holler consists of Joe, who has spent the last 2 decades looking into the existence of Bigfoot in the southern states, and Jesse Lay, a longtime researcher of the paranormal and occult. The two members combine and sometimes contrast their research methods and philosophies on various phenomena to create a unique and holistic approach to their search for answers.
Say, Sasquatch is a thing that is so close to nature, like deer. When they know and sense a major weather event coming, it seems like they get out of Dodge, they go to safety.
Less than 18 hours ago, we received a report from this area. Here's what's crazy about it. 18 hours ago, we got this report that 2 guys were traveling down an old Forest Service road
When they saw a dark figure in the middle of the road, and it darted off to the right into the forest.
When they saw a dark figure in the middle of the road, it darted off to the right into the forest. They got in touch with us because they know about our channel, they've seen our channel before, and we decided to mobilize. What's crazy about this too is that less than 12 hours ago, a crazy storm hit. Here, we've got a bit of a path going off into the woods. Do you want to kind of go into this? Yeah, let's check that out. Hey, you got a lot of creek bed running back through here, so I can get my chest pan. There we go. All right, let me look over here real quick. Lots of old creek beds crisscrossing back through here.
It's headed that way. Whatever this is, take a look. What does it look like to you?
Yeah, it does.
Looks like we're running into a lot of old creek beds through here. Now, areas like that are great for marking indentations very, very clearly.
Got a bit of a path going off into the woods here.
We do have a bit of a path. You want to kind of go into this?
Yeah, let's check that out.
Check this out right here. Now, this is in the middle of this road bed, in the middle of this mud. So this got a deluge of water over the past 10 hours.
So this got a deluge of water over the past, 10 hours. This has just gotten a deluge of water.
This has just gotten a deluge of water. So this would have been gone. This is pretty recent. Now, it is still kind of washed out and faded a bit because it's taking on water right now.
So this would have been gone. This is pretty recent. Now it is still kind of washed out and faded a bit because it's taking on water right now.
But that is a very clear foot shape, isn't it? You can still see a little bit of the big toe mark.
But that is a very clear foot shape, isn't it?
You can still see a little bit of the big toe mark.
Yeah, right here.
Yep, you can still see a little bit.
Yeah, right here you can still see a little bit of the big toe mark, but yeah, water is taking it away pretty quickly. But look, that's a print. That's fresh as all get out.
Footprint you left normally is not anywhere near as deep as that.
So, and then look where you're at. We're downhill right now.
That's super fresh. Yeah, and this area is so undisturbed such a short time ago. So this is exciting. This is something super fresh. Do you want to head in that direction that it's going? Yeah.
This is something super fresh. This is
you want to head in that direction that it's going?
Yeah, it's going that way. Let's, it looks like there's some...
It's going that way. It looks like there are some strange land formations that way too. So let's do it. Let's follow the track, follow the path, take us on in. There is a path of travel here that we're following right now. Got a drop off right up here.
Honestly, that looks like a thing. Look at the...
Look how... This is almost like a huge print to me.
That's a big one, and that is definitely headed in that direction.
Yeah, but you see this kind of...
I don't know how far. Look at this. What's going on? Weird. All right, let's take a look at this.
This is something super fresh. This is
you want to head in that direction that it's going?
Yeah, it's going that way. Let's...
That's been bent over and thrust into this collection of brush and vines. This is a living tree right here. And it's bent and broken. So this is a living tree. You can't snap anything off of it.
This is a living tree right here. And it's bent and broken, so this is a living tree. You can't snap anything off of it.
It's a living tree. This is a living tree. There's a lot going on here right now. There's a lot going on. I'm gonna step out of the way so you can get some good shots of that. Watch out, are you okay? Holes? Yeah, I just went in a couple inches right here. All right, get a shot of that. Just take a, we need to be real careful. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, my foot is just going down in.
You got the heel here, and then that inner part of that foot, that right foot right there. But there's a slide. You can see it in the mud here.
There's a pit broken off at the base and leaned onto this as well. All of these are live trees. And then this other one has been bent over the live tree and has been pinned at the bottom here. This is bizarre.
18
inches. Oh boy.
Yeah, so we're looking at the tip toe. Now listen.
This is a very complex situation here. I don't know what it is. There are some interesting bends over here I want to check out, and then we'll continue to follow this track.
A non-thing, but...
Honestly, that looks like a thing. Look at the...
Look how...
I'll go this way to check it out. You just follow me this way. Whoa, terrain's getting weird over here. There are some drop-offs, and then we're getting into some depressed areas over here.
Broken off at the base and leaned onto this as well. All of these are live trees.
And then this other one has been bent over the line.
Okay, so we got kind of a weird situation right here just adjacent to that other one. That is a dead tree. The one that's arched is dead. The roots were pulled out of the ground. The root ball is still attached. We're gonna head over there in 1 second. Wind's getting worse. Yeah, we're gonna need to kind of put it into high gear. Yeah, get out of here before the worst of the storm happens.
For decades, Bluff Creek has been synonymous with the search for Bigfoot, ever since the legendary Patterson-Gimlin film captured the world-famous footage of Patty in 1967. Now, World Bigfoot Central brings forth a groundbreaking new discovery. Renowned Bigfoot researcher M.K. Davis traveled to this historic site aiming to analyze the terrain and possibly uncover new evidence. What he and his team captured on camera was beyond anything they expected. Not one, but two Bigfoot figures moving through the wilderness. One of these creatures was even closer to M.K. Davis than Patty was to Roger Patterson in the original 1967 footage. This unprecedented sighting could change everything we know about the elusive creatures said to inhabit North America's wildest regions. As the World Bigfoot Central team explored the rugged landscape of Montana, they stumbled upon an astonishing find. A massive rear footprint measuring approximately 18 inches in length. At first glance, some might assume it belonged to a grizzly bear, one of the largest predators in North America. However, something crucial was missing. Claw marks. Grizzly bears have long, powerful claws that always leave deep grooves in the soil when they walk, especially on steep terrain. But this footprint showed no such marks. The only visible impressions were rounded toe indentations, a feature more consistent with a primate-like foot rather than a bear's paw. This discovery raised serious questions. If this wasn't a bear, what left the print?
Footprint maxes out at about 18 inches. So you're saying this is the largest grizzly in North America that's somehow living here in Montana. And not only that, but that grizzly doesn't have any claws, because it was quite evident from looking where its toes dug in to get purchased to push it up that hill. There were no claw marks there.
It would have been impossible to not leave claw marks.
Exactly. With grizzlies, they've got like sabers on the end of their feet. They haven't got those little stubby claws like a black bear does.
The environment surrounding Bluff Creek is anything but forgiving. Towering trees loom overhead, their leaves just beginning to change color as the season transitions. The landscape is rugged, with steep hillsides and dense foliage providing ample cover for any creature wishing to remain hidden. Navigating the area was no easy feat, and the team took time to document just how challenging it was. The sharp inclines and uneven ground made it clear that whatever lived in these woods was not only massive, but also highly adapted to moving through difficult terrain. As they explored further, they came across an area at the base of the creek where they had previously attempted to climb. It was here that they had found additional clues, further supporting the idea that something significant was moving through the wilderness. Perhaps the most shocking revelation came from a piece of footage that at first glance seemed ordinary. While filming near the creek, the team unknowingly captured something lurking in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. It wasn't until reviewing the footage later that they noticed a dark figure partially hidden in the shadows. What made this sighting particularly eerie was that the figure appeared to be holding something white in its hands. Possibly a piece of cloth. It seemed to be wrapping an unknown object, its movements deliberate and precise. When the image was brightened and filtered, more details emerged. The figure possessed an unusually large calf, a shorter lower leg, and a longer upper leg, proportions that deviated from typical human anatomy. This was not an illusion or a trick of the light. Something or someone was down by the creek, engaged in an action that, while unclear, hinted at intelligence and dexterity. The Bluff Creek footage captured by M.K. Davis has reignited interest in the search for Bigfoot. While skeptics may attempt to provide alternative explanations, the evidence gathered from this expedition raises critical questions. Who or what left behind the massive, clawless footprints? How did a figure manage to remain hidden in plain sight, only to be discovered later in post-analysis? And what was the mysterious figure holding in its hands?
Hey fam, ready for nightmares? Check out Knock Knock for the scariest, most bone-chilling encounters caught on camera. Link in the description. If you dare.
Bexar County Bigfoot is a YouTube channel dedicated to uncovering potential evidence of Sasquatch activity in and around Bexar County, Texas. Led by Rod Nichols, the channel focuses on investigating wood structures, unusual footprints, and other strange phenomena deep in the Texas wilderness. In one of his latest investigations, Nichols and his wife stumbled upon something unusual, a mysterious wooden structure hidden deep in the forest. What they found raised more questions than answers.
Haven't seen anything like this. So my wife found this wood structure here while she was just riding her bike on some trails, and
Upon arriving at the site, Nichols was immediately struck by the uniqueness of the structure. Unlike anything he had seen before, the branches and logs were deliberately leaned against a natural nook, forming what appeared to be a rudimentary shelter. But who or what could have built it? At first glance, the setup seemed almost too perfect. Each log was positioned in a way that suggested deliberate placement rather than natural collapse. Some of the larger branches were wedged together, providing additional support, while smaller twigs filled in the gaps, creating a sort of enclosed space. Nichols considered the possibilities. Was this a hunting blind, a temporary refuge, or could it be something far more mysterious?
New structure, definitely something different. Haven't seen anything like this at all, and it's pretty fascinating to me. So my wife found this wood structure here while she was just riding her bike on some trails. And
as Nichols examined the shelter further, he noticed something even more perplexing. In the soft earth just outside the structure, a series of impressions could be seen, marks that resembled large humanoid toes. Though partially obscured by time and the elements, their shape was distinct enough to raise questions. Nichols hesitated. He had encountered strange prints before, but these were different. Could these be actual Sasquatch tracks? The spacing, the depth, the width, each factor contributed to the growing possibility that whatever had built this shelter might still be in the area. Bending down, he traced the outline of one of the impressions. The more he observed, the clearer it became. This was no ordinary footprint. The toes appeared broad and rounded, unlike those of a bear or any known animal in the region. The thought sent a chill up his spine. If these tracks truly belonged to a Sasquatch, that meant it had been here recently. Beyond the structure, Nichols and his team followed a narrow path leading deeper into the wilderness. The thick vegetation eventually opened up to reveal a secluded creek, an ideal location for an elusive creature to remain undetected. It was here that Nichols found even more peculiar signs of activity. Among the natural debris, additional wooden formations stood out. Logs had been stacked in deliberate patterns, and several heavy branches had been stripped of their bark, a behavior often associated with Sasquatch reports. What was even more astonishing was the placement of some of these logs high up in the trees, well beyond the reach of any human without assistance. The sheer effort required to move such heavy objects to those heights raised even more questions. Rod Nichols has spent years searching for definitive evidence of Bigfoot, and discoveries like this only fuel his belief that something undiscovered may still be lurking in the wilds of Bexar County. The structure's unique construction, the cleared-out interior, the unusual footprints, and the deliberate placement of logs in high, unreachable spots all point to something beyond the ordinary. For now, the search continues. But one thing is certain, Bexar County still holds secrets waiting to be uncovered. The North American Bigfoot Center, NABC, a YouTube channel and research facility, is dedicated to uncovering the truth about Sasquatch. Located in Boring, Oregon, the center was founded by Cliff Barackman, a veteran field researcher and co-host of Finding Bigfoot on Animal Planet. The NABC serves as a hub for Bigfoot enthusiasts, skeptics, and researchers, documenting eyewitness encounters and conducting eyewitness investigations into alleged sightings. One of the center's most intriguing cases is the Van Duzer corridor creature, a possible Sasquatch sighting reported on February 18, 2018. 3 days later, Barackman personally investigated the location to search for evidence. On Saturday night, February 19th, Cliff and his wife Melissa were returning from dinner with friends in Troutdale, Oregon. As they drove along Highway 26, they decided to stop by the Boring Winery and Tap Room owned by their friends Cody and Amy. While enjoying drinks, they struck up a conversation with another guest, Rodney, who had something shocking to share. Cody turned to him and said, "Rodney, you've got to tell Cliff and Melissa what you saw yesterday." Rodney hesitated for a moment before dropping a bombshell. "Oh yeah, I just saw a big hairy dude." The casual yet startling statement immediately captured Cliff's attention. Wasting no time, Cliff headed to Van Duzer Corridor on Monday, February 21st to investigate. However, Oregon's unpredictable weather had already taken its toll. Rain and possibly snow had fallen between the sighting and his visit, making it difficult to find pristine evidence. Despite this, Cliff remained persistent and discovered large impressions on the ground that could have been footprints. Though weathered, the pattern and size suggested something significant had passed through. Further down the trail, he noticed a series of ferns pushed down and a shallow creek that seemed to be a natural crossing point for a large creature. The disturbances in the vegetation hinted at something heavy moving through the area recently. Continuing his search, Cliff found more indications of activity. There were clear disturbances in the brush, areas where vegetation had been flattened or broken, suggesting something had moved through forcefully. One particular stump stood out, possibly a spot where the creature had paused before retreating into the woods. The evidence was subtle but consistent with reports of Bigfoot sightings, where the creatures are known for their ability to blend into their surroundings. Determined to find physical evidence, Cliff began examining an area covered with devil's club plants, which have sharp thorns capable of catching hair or fur. If anything had passed through, this could be the key to retrieving biological evidence. While no definitive proof was found, the investigation provided compelling circumstantial evidence, disturbed vegetation, large impressions, and a credible eyewitness account. The North American Bigfoot Center YouTube channel continues to analyze and document cases like these, bringing Sasquatch research to a broader audience. Could Rodney have actually seen a Sasquatch that night? Do the disturbances in the brush suggest an unknown creature was present? What might be lurking in the forests of Oregon, waiting to be discovered? The mystery of the corridor creature remains unsolved, but thanks to Cliff Barackman and the North American Bigfoot Center YouTube channel, the search for Bigfoot continues. What do you think? Is this evidence of a real Sasquatch encounter, or is there another explanation? Share your thoughts in the comments.